This is the story of Annie Londonderry, the first woman to bike around the world. First, let's go back to the beginning and learn about her life. Annie was born in Latvia in 1870. Later, her family moved to Boston. Originally, her name was Annie Cohen-Kovchovsky. You will learn more about why she changed her name later in the video. In the year 1894, two rich businessmen made a bet. The bet was that no woman could ever bike around the world in 15 months. The prize was $10,000, which was worth much more back then. When 24-year-old Annie heard about this bet, she decided to give it a try. With very little biking experience, she practiced until it was time for her adventure to start. And on June 27th in 1894, she set off for her bike ride at the Boston State House, leaving her 3 children and husband behind. Her plan was to bike west to California and then get on a boat. On her trip, she was sponsored by a company called New Hampshire Londonderry Lithia Spring Water. She went by the name Annie Londonderry for her trip as a tribute to the company. Now she is known as Annie Londonderry instead of her original name. In the late 1800s, biking helped women gain more freedom. But being a female cyclist was very challenging. For the beginning of Annie's journey, she wore a dress. A few months after she started, she finally found pants to wear instead. And her bike was very heavy, which slowed her down. Later, she was able to get a lighter bike, which helped her go much faster. Before she switched bikes, she averaged only about 10 miles per day. At the end of September, Annie arrived in Chicago. But soon after, she realized that with winter coming, it would be very hard for her to travel across the Rocky Mountains. She knew that she had to turn back. At this point, she almost gave up, but she was able to keep going and return back to New York 2 months later in November. From New York, she would board a boat to France. On December 3rd, Annie arrived in Europe. From France, she rode all around Europe and Asia. On March 23rd of 1895, Annie finally arrived in the U.S. again, sailing from Japan to California. Finally, she finished her journey by making it back to Chicago on September 12th in 1895. She officially became the first woman to bike around the world. When she returned, she was very well known, and she had her own line of products, everything from bike tires to perfume. She even wrote an article for the New York Times called "The Most Extraordinary Journey Ever Undertaken by a Woman." Annie was very tough. She had many injuries during her trip, including being involved in a bike crash and ending up at the hospital for 2 days. Later, during the end of her trip in Iowa, she crashed and broke her wrist. But through all of this, she still completed her journey. One of Annie's most memorable quotes is, "I believe I can do anything men can do." Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'm going to be making videos now instead of newsletters, and I'm going to try and post a few times a month. Please feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can email the new email that I just created. It is womenfromhistory@gmail.com. I love hearing suggestions and feedback from everyone. Also, please let me know if you have any ideas for women that I should make a project about in the future.